Hi everyone! We're a part of a new organization called Well Eggs on Book Club, and we are doing a pilot program at UNC, and we decided to read the book The Female Brain by Luann Brizendine. Next are some key terms that we'll be discussing and also very important in this book. The female brain has tremendous unique aptitudes, outstanding verbal agility, the ability to connect deeply in friendship, a nearly psychic capacity to read faces and tone of voice for emotions and state of mind, and the ability to diffuse conflict. All of this is hardwired into the brains of women. This quote highlights the book's main idea of how biological and evolutionary forces shape female behavior, communication, and thought processes. Throughout the novel, the reader learns the evolution of the female brain, differences in the female and male brain, and the underlying biological processes and their implications in behavior.
As early as 8 weeks in utero, the female brain starts developing differently than the male brain, where males get a large surge of testosterone and females don't. This makes the female brain more wired for empathy, social connection, and communication. The female's larger prefrontal cortex and stronger connection between brain hemispheres leads to females being more sensitive to social cues and emotional expression. When our female ancestors had children, they needed these traits to bond with their children so they would take care of them, and to be able to form connections with other females to help them raise their children. These hormones, introduced in the female brain in utero, also helps females with nurturing, which is essential for survival evolutionarily. While this biology sets the foundation, experiences and social interactions continue to shape the human brain. Moving on to the teen girl brain, hormones during puberty amplify emotional intensity, social awareness, and romantic interest. You may have noticed as girls go into high school and college, they might start to care more about how they look and what people think of them. The dramatic increase in estrogen, progesterone, and oxytocin heighten emotional sensitivity, mood swings, and a strong desire for social belonging. Increased activity in the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, centers for emotion and decision-making, make teen girls more aware of social status and peer approval. Female teens rely heavily on friendships for emotional support, and social rejection can feel devastating due to heightened neurological sensitivity. Mirror neurons, which help with empathy, make teen girls especially skilled at reading emotions and social cues. Also, as females go through puberty, they start to have a deeper romantic interest in guys. This prepares us for deeper relationships and independence, but also results in vulnerability to stress, self-esteem struggles, and peer pressure. Rising oxytocin levels, which is the bonding hormone, intensify feelings of attachment in relationships, and dopamine surges reinforce the thrill of romantic attention. You also probably notice that teens are more impulsive and likely to participate in risky behaviors. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for impulse control and judgment, is still developing, leading to riskier behavior driven by emotions rather than logic. Social pressure and the need for peer acceptance can amplify this impulsive decision-making.
The next two chapters were about love, trust, and sex. Evolutionarily, we mate based on those who are most likely to give us children. The safest evolutionary bet for women is to partner with long-term males who are likely to stick around, protect their children, improve their access to food, shelter, and other resources. In terms of what appearances men versus women prefer, men cross-culturally prefer physically attractive women, with traits such as clear skin, bright eyes, a curvy figure, full lips, shiny hair, etc., which are all strong visual markers of fertility, so this makes sense evolutionarily. Women across cultures are more concerned with a man's material resources and social status over their visual appearance. The chapter divulges into what feelings of love are like for women, because when a female is in love, her brain becomes illogical. Love shares brain circuits with intoxication, thirst, hunger, obsession, and mania, which explains this idea. The amygdala, which is the part of the brain that regulates fear, and the anterior cingulate cortex, which regulates worrying and critical thinking, are turned way, way down, causing love to run the brain the same way a drug like ecstasy would, which is why many women ignore red flags. Activities like kissing or physical touch of any kind releases an oxytocin or dopamine rush, and this causes deep trust for the partner and a need to be around them constantly. Then, the book discussed what turn-ons exist for women versus men. For women, intense stress is a turn-off, but for males, high stress makes them want to mate with the first woman they see. Female sexual turn-on begins when the brain is turned off, because women need to be relaxed to orgasm. That's why alcohol or a vacation can get women to orgasm so much faster. The amygdala must be shut off so the woman has no fear, and that way the orgasm can occur. For women, foreplay is anything that happens in the 24 hours before sex, whereas for men, foreplay is anything that happens only 3 minutes before. Finally, the book talks about the evolutionary reasons for orgasms, since it's very different for women and men. Obviously, for men, ejaculation into women causes insemination and potential for life, but it also creates an addictive need to have sex again so the genes will spread. For women, the orgasm works to keep her lying down after sex, which can increase the chances of fertilization. It could also potentially work to help the woman choose the best mate, as it involves her finding more pleasure in one specific lover that may eventually fertilize her eggs. Overall, sex-related centers in the brain are 2 times larger in men than in women, so women simply devote less time to thinking about sex than men do.
When women transition to motherhood, have you noticed how protective they are of their children? Pregnancy causes immense growth in estrogen and progesterone in the female brain. Pregnancy triggers fight or flight chemicals, transforming the mommy brain. There are also reports of fathers having morning sickness along with their wives. Some also say that there is a daddy brain. Expecting fathers can have parallel symptoms to their pregnant partner. KAVAD symptoms, common complaint of expecting dads, up to 65% worldwide, who share some of the symptoms of pregnancy with their partners.
Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation on the female brain.